Welcome back to the ARCA cast. We're back. Of course, that's ARCA PR Director Charlie Crawl. Of course, I'm Casey Campbell. This is we are back. You guys are back. That's is it good to be back?
Yeah, man, it's been a while since we've had a race with the ARCA Menard Series National Tour, and we're excited to get the season back underway. And what better way to do it than down at Talladega Super Speedway, one of our more longest tenured racetracks, and one we've got a super rich history at, and a really good entry list for this one, Casey. So we're excited to get ready to roll here, and should be a really fun weekend.
Yeah, 35 cars entered for this race at Talladega. Well, if what we saw at Daytona goes over to Talladega, I think we're going to be in for a pretty good race.
Yeah, I think we'll see a pretty good interesting show too, Casey. And we're going to line them up by owners points from 2022, and that should mix things up a little bit. Interestingly enough, that puts Taylor Gray on the pole. Taylor will be making his first start with Joe Gibbs Racing. That of course is the team that won the owners championship last year. The 18 team went under the Kyle Busch Motorsports name, but um, that'll be a big opportunity for Taylor. I know he's kind of had a bit of a frustrating start to his truck series run here in 2023. So maybe he'll come back, get some laps in the ARCA car, and get some confidence going, and kind of revitalize that run for Rookie of the Year honors there in the truck series. But he's going to have some real tough competition. Brett Holmes will be back. Brett finished second in this race last year. Jack Wood has had some pretty solid performances with Rev Racing, and I mean, that entire team has looked really solid this year. They, of course, led some laps with LeVar Scott there at Daytona. So I expect they're going to be strong. And boy, wouldn't it be great to see another great run by someone like a Greg Van Alst or Andy Jankowiak, or, it is. There's so many teams that could come down here and walk away with the win. It's going to be a really interesting couple of days down there.
Yeah, and of course Frankie Muniz too. What if he? It'd be crazy if he won.
Yeah, I mean, you can't overlook Frankie. He did everything he needed to do down there in Daytona, and unfortunately, right there at the end, kind of got caught up in someone else's, incident, and he's the one who kind of came out on the short end of the stick there. But he was still solid. It did everything it did everything right. And I know this his team, Rhett Jones Racing, and he have put in a lot of effort into this race. And yeah, I'm excited to see how he can do. It's no secret. I'm a Frankie fan. I think it's great that he's coming and doing what he's doing. I think we all should be so lucky to be in a position to where we get to come out and do something that we want to do, at that point in our lives. And I love the fact that he brings a lot of energy to this whole situation, and he's always smiling, always happy, and he's just kind of taking everything in, and it's fun to watch him do it, and it's fun to be around. He and his family are really just very nice people, and it's the kind of guy that it's just really easy to pull for, and I think it would be a great story. And that car is always really good on these big racetracks, Casey. So I don't think you can overlook him at all. I think he's going to be a real factor.
Oh yeah, can't wait! I can't wait to meet him later this year. So the bit let's talk about a lot of the guys that are going to make. There's a lot of guys that like to have came from Daytona that are coming here to Talladega, kind of like the Mandy Chicks, the Steve Lewises. Now a lot of these teams are. It's like, hey, we're coming to race. We're coming to race at Talladega. We raced at Daytona. Let's go to Talladega.
Right, it's the same car. It's the same basic setup. If you come out of Daytona in one piece, you really don't have to do a whole lot to get that car turned around and bring it back to Talladega. I think there are a few teams that um, we did see at Daytona that unfortunately aren't coming to Talladega, and I think that's because they're quite frankly their cars got a little banged up, and they weren't able to get them turned around quite in time. But uh, yeah, it's great to see, like, Mandy Chick. Mandy's going to run a dozen or so races with us this year, and she had a great finish there at Daytona. Steve Lewis is a young guy who just really wanted come and do some super speedway racing. He's got a lot of dirt track experience up there in Andy Jankowiak country up there in New York. Um, I think those two have crossed paths a time or two, as a matter of fact. And I said, hey, I just want to come down and do what you're doing. I want to come and race, on the big tracks. And he had a real solid day there at Daytona too. So yeah, it's really good to be able to finally get to this point, Casey. I think we've kind of turned it around a little bit, and we're seeing new people start to come and do this deal, and just kind of like I expected it to. We've been talking about this for a long time, Casey, and when we were back there in the depths of the pandemic, and it was pretty bleak. It was bleak for a lot of people. I don't think we're any stranger to being in a bad position there. But I said, hey, just let us get through this and let us start, getting back to where we should be. And we're doing what we should be doing. We're out there working hard and scraping and grinding every day. And this is the fruits of that labor. We've seen it, in all three of our divisions. All across the country, car counts are up, and interest from racetracks is up, and we've got this great partnership with FS1, FS2, that's going to have 20 races live on the Fox Sports networks, which is just phenomenal. um, Everything is good with our friends over there at Flow Racing. Everyone's excited there, and now we've got our East and West shows on CNBC, as part of a dedicated sports block on the weekends, which is really, really good too. So a lot of reason for optimism here in ARCA World, Casey. And we're looking forward to get through this weekend. It's, like we said, good entry list at Talladega, really, maybe not sizable, but very strong entry list out there at Kern County. Same 16 cars we saw there at Irwindale a couple weeks ago. We had a great race at Irwindale, man. That was one of the most fun races I've had the chance to call in a long time. So I think we're gonna have a great weekend, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Of course, you'll be on the call for this week's ARCA Menard Series West race at Kern, which will be at 11:15 p.m. So get your
What?
Calypso
That's pretty
lemonade.
late. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stay up that late, Casey.
So get your Calypso lemonade and your Hers chips and
Yeah.
your Reese's peanut butter cups. So
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to stay up that late, bud. We may have to have you do it.
no, I mean, you have to do it. So, I mean,
I don't have to do it. I get to do it. How about that?
true. That is true.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that West race for a second. Of course, Sean Hingrani took the win, or Sean Hingrani took the win at Irwindale. What a win that was! And Venturini Motorsports is actually going, and I just realized this. They're going to be in every single race across
Yep.
the.
Yep. They're like me. They're going to do every single race all season long, and they've got two races on the same day on Saturday as well. So um, they've really warmed up to this challenge, and hey, they had a great night out there at Irwindale. And Sean did a great job. We saw some splashes of competitiveness from him last year in his part-time schedule, and kind of figured, hey, if he gets himself in the right situation, he's going to come out and run really well. And he's found that situation here and found some success pretty early on. And the first driver of East Indian descent to win in a ARCA / NASCAR Touring Series race. So that's a little bit of history to make there, and that's always good to see. We get the more we diversify our winners list, the happier we are, and that's fantastic. So yeah, we'll see if he's able to make it two in a row here this weekend. I think Landon Lewis is going to be pretty tough to beat. Landon's had a couple of runner-up finishes, and he won this race last year. So Landon might be the guy to keep an eye on here this weekend.
And of course, you got the Reif brothers as well, and they're always
Yep.
pretty strong too.
Yeah, Tanner had a real good season last year, and a little off to a little bit slower start than I think he was looking forward to here this season, but still been competitive. And of course, brother Tyler, sneaking away with that win there at Phoenix, and just really impressing the heck out of everybody with a brand new team, here to start the season. So I would say there's probably a good, 7, 8 different driver team combinations that could win this race on Saturday night.
Yeah. And of course, going into this weekend, and I know that I mentioned that Venturini is going to be in every single ARCA Menard series race across the three platforms. For the next 22 weeks, there is going to be one race across the ARCA platforms, if I'm not
At
mistaken.
least one race, Casey.
At least one race across the ARCA platforms. Through I
Yeah,
think.
there's some where we've got, we're starting, of course, starting with two races
Yep.
this weekend.
Yep.
There's one weekend there in August where we've got three races in 3 days. So,
The weekend of
it's gonna be pretty hectic. I think we've got 24 races in the next 22 weeks. So, yeah, it's game on time, man. We've known we've been knowing that this is coming, and we're really excited. This is what we're here to do. This is what we live for. We're a racing company, and we want to go race. And we've got East at Dover next week, and then we go to Kansas, and then we got a couple of East races back to back. And I'm super looking forward to Flat Rock Speedway coming up on
yeah,
May 20th. Casey, I don't think we can emphasize how important that one is to us enough. Um, Heading back to Flat Rock Speedway, which is really is the home of the ARCA Menard series, and it has been since 1953. To get back there for the first time in almost 25 years is just going to be a huge, huge treat for all of us involved. And then you go to places like Charlotte and Portland and Sonoma and Elko. I mean, it's just we're just to the best part of this whole season, Casey, and I'm just so excited to be able to be the guy who gets to do, all of these really cool things that they let me come and do, whether it's at the racetrack or calling the races live on Flow. And um, yeah, man, I hope everybody's looking forward to these as much as I am, because
yeah.
it's going to be a real fun summer for us.
Yeah, I think it is, and it'll be almost a month, and then I'll be back at the track because I'm excited to go to. One more note on Flat Rock. What it's just like that kind of weekend is kind of like the weekend of returns, where all the King's horses and all the King's men will be back. Will be put back together again, and Arca's back at Flat Rock at the same weekend that NASCAR is going to heading back to North Wilkesboro at the same time. So typically, that would be normally when the Toledo weekend would be. So what is that week like? What's that week going to be like? Because I know if I know you guys as well as I do, you guys got some big plans for that week.
Well, we're it's yeah, it's going to be big for us, and we're it's still a weekly race at Flat Rock Speedway, so we're going to have street stocks and figure eights in action. And we haven't sent out entry blanks just yet, but we're hoping we get a pretty solid entry list for that one. We'd be 18, 20, 22 cars, I think would be great. Anything more than that would be huge. I think we'll see a couple of Flat Rock regular late model drivers, I think might find a way to hop in an ARCA car for that one. And I think there are some really interesting names that we'll see on that entry list. Can't quite announce those just yet, but we'll wait and see. Once those entries are received, I think it's going to be great. We're going to have a little media event here in Toledo on May 2nd, kind of preview the season at both Toledo and Flat Rock Speedways. Of course, Casey, we're kicking off the season at both racetracks, Flat Rock and Toledo, on May 12th and 13th. School bus figure eight race here at Toledo Speedway. It doesn't get any better, a better way to start the season off than with the school bus figure eight race. And then the next night up at Flat Rock Speedway, and I do believe Ken Schrader is committed to racing at both racetracks over the course of those couple of days. So if you're in this neck of the woods and you want to come out and see some great action, that's the place to be. And then, of course, Flat Rock Speedway for the Dutch Boy 150 on May 20th. Tickets available online for that one, flatrockspeedway.com. You can get your advance tickets now. All general admission, which is great. You can come in and pretty much pick and choose where you want to sit. We think it's going to be a full house, Casey. We've had a lot of interest in this one, and generally this is a part of the country where people buy tickets to the events they go to on the day of the event. So I'm encouraging everybody, get those tickets early if you want to come, because we do, if we get a real nice weather day, which knock on wood, I'm hoping we do. I think we're gonna have a huge crowd for that one. So I say get your tickets early, get your spot reserved, and come in and join us, because it's going to be a great weekend, a big opening month for Flat Rock Speedway. I think it's really going to be a great year up there. You talk about just what a great historic little bull ring racetrack, tight little quarter mile, almost a circle, Casey, and they're beating and banging all
Oh yeah,
all race long up there.
oh yeah.
So it should be a real fun race.
Oh, absolutely, and I can't wait for it. All right, well, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and we will talk to you next week when we preview Dover for the ARCA
You got it, buddy.